Good morning. So good morning, everybody. Once again, Carlos running between the deluge from last night and this blizzard from this evening.
Zone 4.
Oops. There is the window of opportunity that has opened up. The skies are blue, which means that the
Zone
pressure
3.
is rising, which means that the temperature will probably plummet by this afternoon. We're hovering around 5 degrees Celsius at the moment, and it's going to go down to -5 by tonight.
Zone 3.
It's about to turn onto the trail system, trying desperately to avoid these early puddles. It's probably going to be an unavoidable exercise later on. Well, the creek is full. This is one of those storm surge days when everything is flooding off the roads and into the creek. As I walk off, a little bit of a high zone here. Yep.
Zone 3.
The water is flowing over the top of the weir. Normally, there's a few holes below the lip where the water's supposed to run through, and the raised lip is supposed to keep the road dirt from flowing into the creek. This has now happened. The rain has washed all the dirt into the creek and over the weir. I'm thinking you understand what I'm saying. It's like a strainer, but if there is a lot of runoff, the water breaches the top of the dam.
Time 10 minutes. Distance 1.29 kilometers. Average heart rate 117. Workout average pace 7 minutes 45 seconds per kilometer.
There's a squirrel. We're looking for some nuts. Today's run will be
Zone 4.
aborted when I get to University Heights. I have some shopping to do. I have coffee and coffee cream to buy. And I guess with my empty backpack, I'll probably walk home with some light groceries. I need 88 minutes today for my week, for my 100-minute week. I mean my 600-minute week, my 10 hours of aerobic training. You'll be listening to my scorchy shoes quite a lot today. The trails are sodden, but by tomorrow they'll probably be crunchy with frost, but not slippery because there's no large smooth surfaces here. It'll just be frozen ruts. Another creek, tributary of Douglas Creek. This is Douglas Creek Trail, exactly where I bumped into Zephyr and Jackie yesterday. For those of you who don't know my running friends and my people I bump into friends, Jackie is a disabled athlete. She is a amputee from a road accident as a child. She was trapped in a car in Africa somewhere after a crash and a rollover. But she embraced her disability and took up disabled sailing. She has represented Canada along with her quadriplegic husband.
Zone 2.
They have both sailed to silver in various Olympics. I think they've been to Tokyo, they've been to
Zone 3.
Rio, not Tokyo, they've been to Rio. They're probably going to Tokyo. That is the next Olympic event coming up. But as you know, the main
Zone 2.
Olympics is followed by the Paralympics. About a week after. I'm pretty sure that if they're going,
Zone 3.
they will be included in the opening ceremonies. I was musing the other day about how many disabled wheelchair friends that I have, people that obviously I have met through my work in home care.
Zone 1.
I'm going to have to cross Ash in a second, so I'm going to pause it so you don't hear too much car noise. Right about here. Wow, you can really see the storm surge. Let me take a shot of that. A photograph, I should say. Zoom in a little bit so you can see the white water.
Distance 1.87 kilometers. Average heart rate 134. Workout average pace 7 minutes 55 seconds per kilometer.
So I'll do a little bit of video too, just so that you can see the trail. Let me zoom back, otherwise it's going to be a very jerky video. Zoom back, zoom back, zoom back. And off I go again. I now have the voice recorder in my left hand. Douglas Creek is to my right. And my camera is in my right hand as I approach the main parking lot of Mount Douglas Park.
Zone 1.
So far my zones have been sensible. I've hit a zone 4 a couple of times. Just the excitability of my heart as I walk around a big puddle. And cut across to the back of the parking lot where I will have to cross the road again and then head up the trails. So as I say, I'm going to be finishing off this run at University Heights, and then I'm going to be walking home for 20 minutes or so. It'll take me with my groceries in my backpack. So this is where I'll say goodbye to my video friends. This will act as my trailer for today's show.
Zone 4. Zone 3.
Okay, let me put the camera away till I get to the quieter section. Once I've got the camera away, I'll pause the voice recorder too, because I have a road to cross. You will hear the sound building the closer I get. There goes the 39 bus.
Zone 4.
Zone 4, okay. Walk it off a little bit. Yeah, I'm a little concerned about my heart rate spiking so readily.
Zone 3.
It's probably due to some issues with dehydration. Could be that I'm a little hungover too from yesterday's beer party that I had with my cat. She doesn't drink very much these days. So I just paused through a 20-minute reminder. Basically, everything is working. My heart rate is averaging around 125, 130. Trying to stay out of zone 4. These tiny little birds. I saw them yesterday with Norma. They're about the size of a ping pong ball. Not much bigger, and they have a little yellow flash on their head. They are fully fledged, as they say. They have left the nest. When birds are in the nest, they're normally a sort of a dark brown color, kind of fluffy color. So they're not too obvious to preying hawks. But once they're old
Zone
enough
3.
to fly, they get their adult plumage. And then they have to fend for themselves. Yep. Everybody's taking advantage of this break in the rain to get stuff done. I'm probably going to see a lot of runners today trying to get their weekend run in before the cold weather comes back with a vengeance. Up I go until I'm warned to back off a little. I will continue running until Samantha tells me.
Zone 4.
There you go. Zone 4 is about 138 beats per minute, which is on the high side of comfortable. But as I was alluding to with Sandy the other day, I was diagnosed with some kind of arterial, stenosis. And Norma was explaining to me what that meant. She was saying it's a blockage, a minor blockage in one of my arteries, so that when my muscles are demanding a lot of blood, there's only two ways they can get it. Either by increased stroke volume,
Zone 3.
increased blood flow per heartbeat, or a more rapid heartbeat to push
Zone 2.
enough blood through. But she also said that because I am a senior athlete, that
Zone 0.
my heart has probably found alternative ways of getting the blood around this minor blockage. Younger athletes are more prone to suddenly dropping to the ground. My heart has learnt to find alternate pathways for the blood flow. Probably not as efficient as the main one,
Zone 1.
but you see how pretty quickly my heart rate restores itself to a comfortable rate.
Zone Zone 4.
Until then, it just bounced back up again. I'm not going to talk the whole time about my heart rate. You'll be glad to know. I think it's futile for me to try and avoid getting my shoes wet today. It's one of those unavoidable wet shoe
Time
runs.
25 minutes. Distance 2.98 kilometers. Average heart rate 129. Workout average pace 8 minutes 24 seconds per kilometer. Zone 0.
Up I go. Hello.
Morning.
Couple of cheerful ladies. I now have 2 wet shoes, as I was expecting. This is the opposite direction for where Norma and I normally run. Yesterday she and I ran down this section. Today I'm hiking up it. A little bit more difficult, but not too bad. As you probably know, I'm in this event, this running gig for the long haul. I want to try and keep my running activities going well into my 90s. And these cautious countermeasures are the way that I'm going to do it.
Zone 4.
By trying to stay out of zone 4. I did quite a hard session on Tuesday.
Zone 3.
I did a hard 3-hour hike on Tuesday. On Monday, I did a run and an e-bike with Sandy and Glenn on Tuesday. That show was well received. I got lots of positive feedback from that. Plus, quite a lot of extra plays. The other day I was up to 25 downloads already in just about 2 days, which is good. Normally I have to wait a week to get that kind of response. So, pretty soon I'm going to be heading along Maddock Trail towards Glendenning, and then I'll be exiting the park. But
Zone 2.
I'll keep running until I hear Zone 4 again, which should happen quite soon.
Zone 0.
Whoops, that can't be right. Yep, Maddock and Whitaker, they meet here. And Maddock takes me from Whitaker to Glendenning.
Zone 1.
Let me just adjust the strap a little bit. Sometimes it doesn't give me a good reading because it's between a couple of
Zone 3.
capillaries. It's checking on blood flow through the skin.
Zone 4.
The skin is quite thick in my arm. It's a bit thinner on the wrist, but there's also the bouncing issue of the sensor. Hello. Another couple of runners with a dog. Off you go. Another way to
Zone 3.
improve blood flow is to take those mini aspirins on a daily has a daily
Zone 1.
measure. Keep the blood thinner. It flows a little better. That's what I was saying about
Zone 4.
being dehydrated. So today I have to buy coffee
Time
and
30 minutes. Distance
cream.
3.52 kilometers. Average heart rate 117. Workout average pace 8 minutes 29 seconds per kilometer.
This is about the slowest it'll be today. Once I crest this little hill, it's going to go down. As I go down Glendenning, I'm wearing my road shoes today, so I'm being super cautious because I can feel that I'm losing traction in the mud. These were the only shoes that were dry. Now these are wet as well. So tomorrow I have to put on wet shoes probably. But without my ride down to see Derek once a week, I have to make up those extra 2 hours of exercise that I normally get on my e-bike, just riding down to see him. Sandy wants to run with Glenn on Mount Doug, but the weather window is the issue now. It's going to frost over next week, and I believe she's leaving back for Northern California on Thursday. So it has to be Tuesday, Monday or Tuesday. Last week Tuesday worked, so maybe this Tuesday will work for her and Glenn as well. She's looking after her mum, her stepmom. I believe it's her stepmom, I'm not sure. Cindy is her name. She has medical appointments to get to, and Sandy is being the responsible daughter that she is. She's driving her to these appointments. I think she's starting chemo. That's the issue. A bit like what I was, the moral support for my friend. She's been the moral support for Cindy. Plus, she's been the driver. Hello. Hi there.
Hi.
I might bump into Jackie again today because she often brings Zephyr to this end of the park. Yesterday we were quite surprised to see her where we did. Quite adventurous for a one-legged lady. But she was telling me that when she comes off the roads and starts to hike the trails, she's much better off with her crutches than with her prosthetic limb. She uses that when she's walking around on regular flat surfaces. Alright, so now I'm running down Glendenning, trying to keep my heart nice and comfortably ticking over. This will be the last little bit of trail running until I get to Bow Park. Yeah, I think I can quite safely say that my heart rate data is not reliable today. Hi.
Hi.
It's giving me pretty good average heart rates, but it's not terribly good at the immediate zone changes. But I need to know if it spikes too often to back off a little bit. Sometimes when I have this problem with my sensors, I increase the sample rate to once a minute, so then I get more often the average update. 5 minutes is quite a long way to run in the wrong zone.
Time 35 minutes. Distance 4.15 kilometers. Average heart rate 117. Workout average pace 8 minutes 26 seconds per kilometer.
Normally when I run with Norma, we end up with about 8 minutes 15 per kilometer. Today I'm being super cautious, slightly more technical than usual.
Time 40 minutes. Distance 4.84 kilometers. Average heart rate 110. Workout average pace 8 minutes 14 seconds per kilometer. Time for hydration.
So that's 40
Zone
minutes
0.
of running and walking. Probably about 20 minutes of recording. I'm now on Moulton Road, heading towards Bow Park. Eric Road. Eric Road leads to Livingston, which leads to Bow Park. And then it's Bow Road, Arrow Road,
Zone 3.
and the back of the University Heights shopping centre, where I will get my groceries, essentials.
Zone 4.
I asked Norma if she needed anything light. She said no. So Livingston Avenue West. I'm about 10 minutes from the end. In real terms, and probably about 5 minutes or so till the end of this recording. The wind is picking up now. Hopefully you're not hearing it. My windsock is on my Sony. Yesterday night I had a bit of a glitch with my phone. Suddenly it wasn't playing through the speaker. The loudspeaker of the phone was somehow disconnected. So I'm on Kevin's ramp now, recording for the Extra Mile podcast, as I said I would. I'm not actually following the progress of the Extra Mile podcast group on Facebook. I have rather too much going on Facebook. So I have to guesstimate roughly when Kevin is going to put out a show. But I missed the boat last time the episode came out, and I had nothing new for him. So today I'm recording something for his next episode. I do listen to the shows religiously now.
Time 45 minutes. Distance 5.44 kilometers. Average heart rate 115. Workout average pace 8 minutes 16 seconds per kilometer.
I do listen to all the shows. It's just that, as I was saying, Facebook is taking
Zone
up
3.
way too much of my time. Seriously thinking of packing it in. Unfortunately,
Zone 4.
that won't be a popular move. A lot of my pleasure is derived from my Facebook pages, my audio page, Your 5 Minutes, the Running Jackal podcast page, obviously. That one's a major one for me. And Friends of the Seeker. That's a good, busy one. Still have to keep reminding people of the rules. So what can you do without being too draconian?
Zone 3.
I am a bit of a deleteaholic. Most people know that. Pictures are pictures. They don't necessarily need a story. There might be a comment or two, and then the next day they vanish. The comments vanish. I can understand Kevin with his large following that his time must be quite short. He must deal with his people
Zone 2.
a little more briefly than I do because he has so many more followers. But that's the thing, you see, the bigger the group, the more involved the moderators have to be until you have to start delegating moderator duties, which can be a good thing, but not always. Okay, so having decided to
Zone 4.
record for Kevin's show, I've now pretty much shot myself in the foot here. Pretty sure that he will use this submission anyway, even if it's just a cautionary tale. But we are all adults here. We don't always have to agree with everybody.
Zone 5.
Oops. We don't always have to like everything that we see. That would be meaningless after a while. Hello.
Zone 4.
If all we did was give thumbs up and way to goes all the time, it would be meaningless, would it not? Anyway, back to my own show for the last 3 or 4 minutes of this run. I now have a bit of downhill, and then I'm at the back door of the mall. And I'll say goodbye to you then, as my shoes start to squeak their way down the corridor.
Zone 5.
Zone 5. Back off. My average heart rate is good. It's around the 130,
Zone 4.
but that's because I'm doing a fair bit of walking. Hello. So that is my long-term plan. To stay active as much as possible for as long as possible. So as I cross the noisy street, let me pause this again. In I go. So this is the Running Jackal squeaking to you from the University Heights shopping centre, saying bye-bye for Sunday, the first Sunday, is it? Not sure, maybe the second Sunday of January. I know we're up to about 11, so it'll probably be the second Sunday of January. Bye bye.